After 20 years of marriage, I thought our bond was unshakable until the day my wife decided to explore an open marriage and took off to Vegas for a birthday fling, leaving me to pick up the pieces. Subscribe to our channel for the raw, real drama of betrayal and the aftermath that'll have you on the edge of your seat. Working on all fours, installing 6x6 ceramic tiles in a 12x14 kitchen was hard work. Alex Thompson carefully applied adhesive to the next tile, then aligned it with the previous one. The tile stood as it should and he nodded with satisfaction. A deviation of a couple of millimeters here or there could lead to the failure of the project. Because Zenith Renovation had a one satisfaction guaranteed policy, Alex made sure every tile was installed perfectly before moving forward, as if sensing that he had reached the end of the row. Alex's wife, Rebecca, called Zenith Renovation on Alex's phone. Alex answered the call. "Alex, it's me," Rebecca snapped irritably. Huh. Alex said already, reaching for the box of tiles to start the next row. There was a time when Alex would answer the phone and his wife would giggle and say, "Hello, honey, it's me." Alex couldn't remember the last time she said, "Hi, honey, when are you going to finish?" Rebecca snapped, "I'm in Thompson's kitchen." Alex replied, "Looking at the nearly 10 FT you have finished. This will take me about 3 hours. Give or take. I think okay." Rebecca snapped and ended the conversation. Alex wanted to hurry up. He had a strong desire to cut this work short, but he forced himself to move slowly and methodically. But even as his hands did their work, his mind thought of his wife, with whom he had lived for 19, almost 20 years. Alex met Rebecca Morris on his second day of work at Zenith Renovation. Rebecca walked into Philip Anderson's office apologizing for her poor performance at Central High School. She was a portly brunette with long wavy hair and patches of large pimples. Alex looked at the two basketball-sized books poking out of her denim. Seoffs then returned his attention to the selection of hand tools in Philip's tool shed. "That's my daughter," Philip growled at Alex. "Understand my daughter?" "Yes, sir," Alex said, fighting the urge to shrug indifferently, somehow sensing that her father did not want her to interact with his new employee. Rebecca made it a habit to smile flirtatiously and say hello to Alex whenever their paths crossed. For his part, Alex was always polite to the girl but did not encourage her attention. "What did I tell you?" Philip growled at Alex. "No need to chase after my daughter." "Okay, sir, I'm not chasing in your daughter," Alex said honestly. The truth was that 22-year-old Alex found 18-year-old Rebecca nothing more than a nuisance. She was at least 40 pounds overweight, had terrible acne, and there was something particularly repulsive about her. Alex also found Rebecca to be quite immature. "Hey Alex," Rebecca said coyly. One day, as Alex and another Zenith employee were unloading their equipment after a long day, Alex said, struggling with an unopened bag of quick-drying cement. "Listen, I turned 19 on Sunday." Rebecca leaned forward, giving Alex an unobstructed view of the front of her blouse. "That's nice." Alex said, "Well, happy birthday." Another employee smiled. "So Alex, what are you getting me for my birthday?" Rebecca asked. "Close your eyes." Alex suggested managing to drag his bag to the back door of the pickup. "Okay, Rebecca," he giggled. "What do you see?" Alex asked, throwing his bag into the truck. "Nothing," said Rebecca. "This is my gift. Happy birthday," Alex said, and dragged the bag of cement towards the barn. But Rose Morris forced Philip Anderson to invite Alex Thompson to their home for Rebecca's birthday party. A drugstore in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, sold Alex a beautiful birthday card, in a pawn shop in Aspen, Colorado, sold Alex a beautiful silver bracelet for $25. Rose forced Philip to ask Alex to escort Rebecca to the prom. Alex actually accompanied Rebecca, wincing at the sight of her in a tight, sleeveless dress. However, Alex was very kind. He posed for photos, danced with Rebecca, then took her home and kissed her goodnight. A few days later, Philip growled at Alex that Rebecca was heartbroken because Alex hadn't called her. Alex pursed his lips but still called Rebecca and asked her out. That date led to another date. On the 5th date, Rebecca gave Alex her virginity. Hannah Thompson was born 6 months after their wedding, and for the next 12 years Alex Thompson was given the crappiest jobs Enith Renovations had. Alex was sure that on some of these jobs Philip Anderson went out of his way to make sure Enith Renovation got the job, just so he could turn around and FO this backbreaking work on his son-in-law. For the first 14 years of their marriage, Rebecca Thompson was a good wife. She really made an effort to know her husband's likes and dislikes. She actually learned how to cook his favorite dishes. She really learned to be quiet on Sundays when the Denver Broncos were on TV. Rebecca Thompson also managed to lose 35 pounds. Then she gained it back. Then she would lose 15 to 20 pounds. The video game Subnautica, only to gain it back plus another 30 or 40 PBS. Rebecca's skin did improve a bit, but she always had acne scars on her cheeks. Cosmetics did reduce the severity of the scarring, but it was always visible. When Hannah went to Theodore Roosevelt Elementary School, Rebecca was hired by the Glenwood Springs Public Library. The pay was minimal at best, but the benefit were enormous. Health insurance and dental insurance were well worth the low salary. Then, this horrible life. Just after they celebrated their 14th year of marriage, Rebecca's cousin Kathy moved back to Glenwood Springs, God knows where, dragging husband number 3 or 4 along with her. Kathy was loud, brash, and obscene, and Michael, her husband, wasn't much better. To make matters worse, Michael was a Dallas Cowboys fan. Kathy was not a very good influence on her cousin. Rebecca became loud, brash, and complaining. She began to neglect household responsibilities, including cooking. Alex didn't mind. He was a good cook. He was no stranger to cleaning a pan or two, but the occasional slack suddenly became almost every evening when Rebecca, Kathy, and Michael found something to do outside the Mason house. Hannah also learned to clean, cook, and sew buttons on her school uniform, but somehow it seemed that Hannah was resentful of her father rather than her mother for her mother's neglectful behavior. Javier Alex timed his work almost perfectly. 3 hours after Rebecca's phone call, he finished the threshold at the entrance from the kitchen to the living room. He slowly stood up and straightened his back with difficulty. Good God, I'm getting too old for this, Alex thought as he collected his tools and the few remaining tiles after leaving the Thompson house. Alex called Philip Anderson. He still winced whenever he heard the man's slurred speech. The blow nearly killed the large man and his recovery was slow. Philip suffered a massive stroke minutes after his wife Rose revealed she had breast cancer. Thus, even after a double mastectomy and undergoing radiation, Rose was burdened with caring for her husband. Dennis Morris, Brian Morris, and Paul Morris did everything they could to help. Alex also helped care for Philip Henderson when needed. Rebecca Morris, the only girl in the family, was her mother's constant companion. It was Rebecca who drove her mother to Aspen Hospital and helped each her mother's hand as she sobbed weakly in pain. Rose lost the fight, was lost, succumbing to illness. Philip also seemed to have lost the will to live, but death didn't seem to want to take Philip Anderson just yet. So day after day, Philip was wheeled into the office on a gurney. Day after day, Philip sat at his desk and cursed his useless left hand as he tried to type on his computer keyboard. Then, at the end of the day, Dennis, Brian or Paul would drive Philip home. "Yes, sir. I'm leaving the Thompson job now, it's finished," Alex said. As Philip grunted, barked and wheezed into the phone at home, Alex sniffed the air with pleasure. Pork chops, mashed potatoes and French-cut green beans were one of his favorite meals. After Philip's debilitating stroke, Rebecca switched the Mason family to a heart-healthy diet. The diet helped Rebecca lose 50 pounds, but she was still quite overweight. Alex accused Hannah of leaving home and going to the University of Colorado just to avoid the tasteless food. Rebecca fed them, and Meg did not deny this fact. Alex leaned over to kiss his wife as she busied herself at the stove. She waved him off and pinched her nostrils, throwing his clothes into the hamper. Alex washed the sweat from his stiff, aching body. This work was grueling enough when he was a young man of 22. Now, at 40 years old, this was at the limit of his capabilities and certainly did not add to his health. But Dennis, Brian and Paul were not going to pay attention to this, and, with the mounting medical bills associated with Philip Morris's rehabilitation, Dennis, Brian and Paul said there was no money in the budget to hire anyone to help dry himself with a towel. Alex ignored the handsome, muscular man in the foggy mirror. Alex was wearing a t-shirt and shorts. He then came downstairs just as Rebecca was placing his plate in front of his chair, and for dessert there's hot apple pie. Rebecca announced, placing a frosted mug and a can of beer in front of him. "Oh my God," Alex said, even as a lump of bile formed in his stomach. Alex remembered the last time Rebecca poured him a glass of frosted beer. At that time he was smiling, enjoying the refreshing drink on her 35th birthday, a few months before their 17th anniversary. While Hannah was out with friends, was a video game subnautica, Rebecca poured Alex a beer in a frosted mug. Alex took a sip of the ice-cold drink, enjoying the taste. Then Rebecca said, "Darling, there is something I need to talk to you about." Out many words followed about nothing, as Alex continued to look at his wife without saying a word. Finally, Alex said, "Of course. I wish you would just get to the point. This beer is almost gone." Rebecca glared at Alex, then said that Kathy and Michael weren't exclusive. They had an open marriage. Rebecca then asked Alex if he had ever thought about sex with other women. "Certainly, I am a man. Of course. I was looking at that girl, Shelley, at the gas station." Alex admitted. "Shelley at the gas station. Yeah, exactly, as if you'd ever have a chance with her." Rebecca snorted. "But I'm married." Alex continued, "So yeah, I look. Yeah, you sure," said the video game subnight. "I think about it. And then it all stops right there." "But did you think it wouldn't stop right there?" Rebecca continued. "Did you assume that you could go ahead and do what you wanted? You could do this and then go home without thinking about the consequences." "But I can't do it, Rebecca." Alex said, "We are married. We took vows. We took these vows in front of all our family and friends." He drained his mug and rose to his feet. He took the mug to the sink and washed it. "We swore to be faithful to each other. We swore to leave everyone else, Even that girl Shelley, at the gas station. Alex said, but we could make new vows. Rebecca suggested no new vows. Alex said decisively, putting the washed glass away in the closet, these old vows work just fine. Both Kathy and Michael may be in an open marriage, but we are not. We are not and never will be in an open marriage. But, said Rebecca. No buts. End of discussion, said Alex, leaving the kitchen. Alex hoped that this would be the end of it, but it didn't happen. Twice more. Rebecca brought up the idea of an open marriage, and twice more. Alex said no. But honey, Rebecca WH'd. It would simply be a confirmation of our love for each other. We love each other enough to allow each other to do this because we trust each other. Holy Mother, do you even hear the complete and utter nonsense you are trying to spew? Said Alex. No, Rebecca. If you need me to let you cheat on me, like your cousin did, to show you that I love you, then I guess I don't love you. The fourth time Rebecca started talking about opening up their marriage, Alex called her father. Rebecca sat watching as the cell phone rang. Hello, Philip. How are you? Said Alex. Rebecca's face paled as she realized Alex was talking to her father. Then, Shaw. To make matters worse, Alex asked to speak to Rose. Hey Rose. Listen. Will wants to tell you something, Alex said here. Rebecca. Tell your mother what interesting thoughts Kathy fed you. Rebecca took the cell phone from Alex's outstretched hand. She then tried to get up from the kitchen table. Alex had anticipated this move and held Rebecca in her place, holding her in place with a heavy hand trapped. Rebecca talked about complete nonsense and finally ended the conversation. You son of a Rebecca, growled at Alex with hatred. Listen, Rebecca, and listen carefully. Alex hissed, bring up this nonsense about an open marriage one more time and you'll have no marriage to open. We will just get divorced. And Rebecca didn't bring up the topic again. Alex was relieved, and his persistence also seemed to cool Kathy and Michael's attempts to communicate with Alex. The toxic twins, as Alex dubbed them, stopped appearing in the house as often now. 5 years later, Alex watched his wife pour him a glass of beer. He watched as the foam almost reached the top of the mug. Rebecca wasn't very good at pouring beer. You know I turn 41 next Thursday. Rebecca began as Alex chewed his first bite of pork chop. Yes, Alex said, swallowing, and I was a virgin when we met. Rebecca continued. I'm not sure how those two facts fit together, but okay, you're turning 41 and you were a virgin. Alex said, taking a second bite of his pork chop. I mean 41. The big 41, said Rebecca, and during all this time what I've only had one man. Luckily for you, that man was me. Alex said, did you use bacon with the green beans? But you had what, at least 10 women? Asked Rebecca. I mean, is that fair? Life isn't always fair. Alex said, sipping his beer. So I was thinking, since my birthday is coming up, I mean big 41, after taking care of you and Hannah and my mom and dad all this time, I deserve to, you know, let my hair down a little, take a walk. So Kathy and I are going to Las Vegas next week. She got us a great deal for a week at one of the casinos. Rebecca said. Alex continued to eat. He swallowed his bite, then washed it down with another sip of beer. And while we're there, we could, you know, meet a couple of guys, Rebecca insisted. I mean, not necessarily for sex, but just for a date. Just, you know, just for a date. Just let me experience what another man is like. Make me appreciate what I have at home even more. You know the sauce is almost perfect, Alex said, so what do you think? Asked Rebecca. I told you the sauce is almost perfect. Alex said, no. Alex, this is for me. You know, I want to spread my wings. Gain experience. Rebecca snapped. You mean cheat on me? Alex asked, listen, I've already decided everything. Rebecca snapped. So you can either let me do this or get a divorce. Okay, I'll file for divorce. Alex agreed. Do you have any ice cream to go with this pie? Wait, what? Alex, you know how expensive divorce is. You can't even talk about it. Rebecca gasped, stunned. What is there to talk about? You, just sitting right there, told me that you had already decided everything. You and your shabby cousin are going to Vegas. You're not asking me this. You've already decided that you're going to Vegas. Screw the mountain of bills we have here. You're going to Las Vegas to celebrate the Big 41, and while you're there you might have a date. Even if you are a married woman, you can have a date. Then you're telling me I can either go along with this plan of yours or get a divorce. Alex said, pushing his empty plate away. This pie, does it come with any ice cream? But it's only for 1 week, said Rebecca. 1 week, 1 day, 1 minute. It doesn't matter, Rebecca, Alex said, cutting himself a piece of pie. Cheating is cheating, and I refuse to be married to a cheater. So no ice cream, you can take Kathy. Rebecca suggested, oh God. Rebecca suggested, oh God. No, Alex laughed. Dear God, Rebecca, I wouldn't have sex with Kathy if she were the last woman on earth. Alex blew on a piece of pie, then popped it into his mouth. He screwed up his face in disgust. Oh great. Just wonderful. You used that aspartame crap, didn't you? Alex asked. Pushing his plate away, Alex rose to his feet, wiping his mouth with a napkin, and walked out of the kitchen. Don't worry. Tomorrow I'll meet with a lawyer and start this divorce, Alex said, heading up the stairs. Thompson's work was completed and Dennis had no plans to do anything else until he received permission to begin rebuilding the federal savings and loan. But Alex, Rebecca exclaimed, you don't even listen to me. Of course. Alex shouted, walking down the stairs. You didn't listen to me. I told you what would happen if you brought this up again. We get divorced. Well, you brought it up again. So we're getting a divorce in the 3rd bedroom, which they designated as a home office. Alex turned on the computer. It was 7 years old, outdated but still working and connected to the internet. Having typed a query into a search engine, Alex began searching for lawyers. He saw that Penny Benson had an online form and he filled it out. A moment later, the call alerted him that he had an appointment with Penny Benson at 10 the next morning. After tidying up the kitchen, Rebecca went upstairs. She and Rastin climbed into bed naked. Alex was almost surprised when Rebecca pressed her flabby body against him. No thanks, Alex said and rolled away from Rebecca. Good night. Alex woke up at the usual time, 5:30 in the morning. He didn't have to go to work, but he still woke up at his usual time. He quickly slipped out of bed and quickly closed their bedroom door. He went downstairs and made coffee, then used his cell phone to check his email. Penny Benson's office sent him an email outlining what he needed to bring to the meeting. At 700, Alex was arguing with himself about whether to drink a second cup of coffee. He heard Rebecca stomping around upstairs and decided to do nothing for her. If she wanted a cup, she could make her own coffee. No, I told him, give it to me. While Rebecca was talking on her cell phone. As she walked down the stairs, she screamed. When she saw Alex sitting at the table calm, reading the news on his cell phone, she interrupted the phone conversation and put the cell phone in her robe pocket. Alex, what are you doing here, asked Rebecca. I told you Dennis hasn't gotten permission to start rebuilding the federal savings and loan yet, so I have nothing to do today. Alex shrugged. Right now, the grass is too wet to cut, so I read today's news. Did you know that Burnett is thinking about opening a second store? This one will be right there in Beechwood. You could have left me some coffee, Rebecca snapped. Ask Kathy to make you something, Alex said, putting his cup in the sink. Penny Benson was an attractive brunette. Alex suspected that her glasses were only on to make her look smarter and more serious. Penny said, looking at their financial statements. Did you just refinance your home for two? My daughter is in her. Last year, Alex said, and the father-in-law had a ton of medical bills and the mother-in-law's medical bills were minimally covered. They both had deductibles that were just unrealistic. Then funeral expenses. Then Philip Anderson was on the verge of bankruptcy. A couple of jobs went over budget because Paul didn't seem to remember to time the orders correctly. Yeah, Penny agreed, continuing to read. So, Mr. Mason, when you divorce your employer's daughter, how will that affect your job? I think I'll end things with him, Alex said, and a smile touched his lips. But Mrs. Mason's job at the Glenwood Springs Public Library shouldn't be affected, Penny mused. As of Friday, Dennis still had not received approval to begin renovating the federal savings and loan. So Alex was at home finishing up some renovations at the Mason house. When Rebecca called, "What is it? What kind of scam?" Rebecca screamed. As Alex answered, "Oh good. You have documents," Alex said. "So what's wrong with the bathroom on the first floor?" "You said something needs to be fixed, but I'll be damned if I can tell you what's wrong." "The lock is jamming," said Rebecca. "You and me will have to talk when I get home." "No, we've already talked." "Talking doesn't seem to do any good, as long as you want to listen to Kathy and not your husband. So no, the time for talking is over." Alex said, "Yes, I see what the matter is. Okay. I understand. But I don't want a divorce." Rebecca wind and I don't want to be married to a brainless cheater. Alex said. "Anything else?" "No, goodbye." Then Alex ignored Rebecca's next call. When Philip's phone number came up, Alex put down the screwdriver and picked up the phone. "Hello," said Alex. Philip barked, grunted and moped. Alex was truly amazed at how many swear words he could understand when his father-in-law demanded to know what was going on between Alex and Rebecca. "Quite simple, actually, sir." Alex said Kathy and her husband seemed to have an open marriage, and they convinced Rebecca that she should have an open marriage too. You know, where they can run around and have sex with whoever they want and somehow still stay married. Well, I told Rebecca that I had no desire to have an open marriage." Philip grunted, squeaked and mumbled his way through another outburst of anger. Alex shook his head as if Philip could see the gesture. "Well, last night your daughter said I could either go along with it or get a divorce. So I'm getting a divorce," Alex said. Philip tried to argue with Alex again. The man even resorted to emotional blackmail. "Well, sir, I appreciate it. I really do." Alex lied, "But you have 3 sons and a daughter. You really should leave this matter to them, sir, and not to me. Plus, Why the hell would I want a company that has been in the red for the last 3 years? Alex said to himself. Rebecca brought reinforcements with her. When she returned home, Alex saw this coming and sat quietly while Kathy and Michael made their point. So you see, Alex, since our marriage is not threatened by other men, Michael said with a smug look on his face, Kathy is free to have friendships outside of marriage. I mean, as long as I know she'll come home to me, and of course I share all my experiences with him. Kathy said there are no secrets between us. It really opened our hearts and our lives to each other. Oh well, that certainly clears things up, Alex said, and Rebecca, Kathy and Michael smiled. No, Alex said, and got up from the couch. But hey, Rebecca, after we get divorced, you can open your heart, your life and the doors to your inner world to anyone you want. Oh, what do I see? Michael grinned. So, just because you feel inadequate, Rebecca should close the door on her own capabilities and needs. Alex flashed a smile, showed all his teeth. He walked to the living room door and turned toward the stairs. If you need to think that way to feel better, by all means keep thinking that way, Alex said and left the room again. That night, Rebecca tried to initiate sex sleep. Rebecca, tomorrow is a busy day for you, isn't it? Alex grinned as usual. Alex woke up at 5:30 and got out of bed. He no longer bothered to close their bedroom door, not caring whether his early rise would wake his wife or not. Going downstairs, he made himself some coffee and he sat sipping coffee and reading the news on his phone. The national news made him snort in disgust. Politicians, I swear they all need to be rounded up and forced to live by their own rules. Lifetime maintenance. Oh no, try living on Social Security. Private health care, SIF care. Oh no, here's the same insurance policy that you forced America to buy into. At 11 in the morning, Michael came on the door. Alex opened the door and Michael tried to enter the house. Alex's heavy hand stopped the grinning bastard's advance. Yes, Alex asked. Hey, I'm here to pick up Rebecca and take them to the airport, Michael said, trying to force his way into the house again. I'll let her know. You're here, Alex said, and pushed Michael back. He then closed the door and went back to watching his pre-recorded sitcom. A few moments later, Rebecca thundered down the stairs, dragging her suitcase. Why didn't you let me know that Michael and Kathy were waiting for me? Outside, she demanded from Alex. Oh yeah, Michael and Kathy are here, Alex said, turning his attention back to his program. God, really, do you have to be so childish about all this? Rebecca squealed. She set down her suitcase and leaned toward Alex. He pulled away from her, so she ended up kissing the empty space. We'll talk about this when I get back, said Rebecca. No, we won't do this. We really won't do that, Alex said. After his sitcom and a hearty meal, Alex completed the last of his chores by painting the front door of the house. He chose pale yellow and the color contrasted nicely with the red brick facade of the house. He grinned when their cat Max meowed in annoyance from the garage. The animal had food, water and a clean litter tray in the garage. He had nothing to ask for. As soon as the door is dry, buddy, I'll let you out of there. Alex promised the beast back upstairs. Alex logged in and canceled their joint credit cards. He didn't know about any credit cards his wife had in her name and had no desire to look, but he had no intention of funding his wife's infidelity or her cousin's extravagance. He logged into Rebecca's personal bank account and withdrew half of the balance. He also went into their joint account, of which he was the only contributor, and withdrew half. The bank's website helped him open a new account in his name only, and he transferred the money withdrawn from other accounts to his new account again. Online accounts made it easy to remove his name from utilities and cable TV. He shrugged when the Glenwood Springs Power and Light Company sent him an email informing him that his cancellation order would not take effect until the end of the billing cycle. "I don't care," Alex said to the computer screen. "Let's go to Manny's Pizza," Alex said to himself, as his stomach growled. Of course, since Rebecca wouldn't let me eat there. Hell, I guess I'll probably drop dead of a heart attack right there. Let's check. Alex ordered pizza and a glass of draft beer. He actually flirted with the waitress, even though the girl was almost 75 pounds overweight. The young woman smiled and tapped his wedding ring with her 3-inch fingernail. Alex looked at the ring and his good mood evaporated. He thanked the fat woman and left her a $5 tip in his truck. Alex tugged at the ring for a long time and sighed with relief when it finally came off. He toed into the cup holder on the console and looked at his hand. "I'll love you forever. Right, Rebecca?" Alex asked out loud. Well, I guess forever ended. This morning his truck made a soft squeaking sound, and then Alex saw that his gas tank was almost empty. He stopped at a gas station and stuck a gun in the tank. He was about to fill up with 10, but then he decided to fill the tank full. He pressed the right buttons and waited. Damn, 205 gallons takes a while, huh? Alex asked the pump, which kept gurgling and gurgling. He went to a nearby convenience store and found Budweiser beer. As Alex walked past another row of refrigerators, he saw containers of ice cream. He grabbed a pint of strawberry ice cream and carried both to the counter. Shelley no longer worked at the gas station. She got married, breaking Alex's heart and the hearts of many other men who stopped at that particular gas station just because of the blonde beauty standing behind the counter. But Shannon Carlisle, the short brunette who now worked there, was almost as pretty as Shelley. Alex smiled as Shannon jumped onto the milk crate she had placed in front of the cash register one day. He asked her how old she was, and Shannon looked at him intently. "I'm 48 and tall," snapped the 19-year-old girl. "How short are you?" "About 7. Alex joked. Her brown eyes opened wide. Then the girl laughed. A deep, lively laugh that made her pretty face light up. And from that day forward, from that, Shannon called Alex Shorty. "Has your wife left town, Shorty?" Shannon concluded. "Looking at the purchase, my wife left completely, period," Alex said. Shannon's dark brown eyes flickered to Alex's left hand. Her eyes flickered up and met Alex. She studied his face for a few moments. "So, baby, where are you taking me?" "On our first date?" she asked, brazenly, combing her thick brown hair back with her hand. "Shannon, as pretty as you are, what on earth do you want with an old fart like me?" Alex asked. "That's about 7 inches," Shannon said, and put Alex's purchases in the bag. Rebecca's 41st birthday was Thursday. On Friday, Hannah, Alex and Rebecca's daughter, called Alex on his cell phone. "Zenith renovation." Alex said, "Dad, it was Mom's birthday yesterday." Hannah said, along. Alex asked, scratching his 3-day stubble. "Why didn't you call her?" Hannah squealed. "I didn't want this." Alex said, "I didn't want a dad." Why? Hannah hissed. I guess you'll find out soon enough. Alex said your mother has decided that since she's now 41, she should go out and have sex with other men. And what Hannah asked? And what Jesus Christ? What did they teach you in this school? Alex asked she is married and married women don't have sex with men they're not married to. Oh my God, this is so old-fashioned. Hannah chuckled goodbye. Hannah, Alex said, ending the conversation. 10 minutes later his cell phone rang again. Even though he saw that it was Rebecca's cell phone, Alex answered the call. Zenith Renovation. Alex said automatically, "Hi, Alex." Rebecca said in a firm voice, "Hello. How do you like being a 41-year-old? Alex asked. "It's not funny, Alex," Rebecca snapped. Well, I don't think it's funny either," Alex agreed. "Oh, and thank you so much for canceling the credit cards." Rebecca continued. "You're welcome," said Alex. "Anything else? My birthday was yesterday." Rebecca said, "Why didn't you call?" "I didn't want this. But hey, maybe whoever you're having fun with will want to wish you a happy birthday, huh?" Alex asked. "Oh my God. Grow up, Alex." Rebecca snapped already. "Rebecca, what about adults? They fulfill their obligations. They respect their vows." Alex said. "So, Melissa Collins." Rebecca asked Melissa Collins. Her name used to be Melissa STM. "Do you remember her? The pretty little blonde who went to school with Hannah? She married Lukey Collins, the bank manager. Be that as it may, she now works at Gold Standard Real Estate and I've got this cute little redhead. Dear God, she's as cute as a pin, I tell you. But anyway, the good news is that she thinks she can find us a buyer for our house, real quick." Alex said. "Buyer? Alex, we are not selling the house," Rebecca shouted into the phone. "Oh, do you really think you can afford to outlast me? Remember, we need to pay off the second mortgage, and that's what Melissa told me. She can find us a buyer, but we'll probably have to bring cash to the table to pay off that mortgage." Alex said. "We're not selling the house." Rebecca shouted again. "And I put all your furniture in that easy warehouse on Main Street, right next to Chevy Place." Alex continued. "Block number 212. Your father has the key." "Oh God. Kathy, I need to go home." Alex heard Rebecca moan. "But your father couldn't pick up Max, so I took him to Dennis." Alex continued. "Dennis? Alex, my God. Dennis has those Dobermans." Rebecca screamed in horror. "It's so damn. That's right. I didn't think about that." Alex grinned. "No wonder he said he would be happy to adopt this cat." Well, Alex hung up, ignoring his wife's cries and pleas, leaving the phone on the kitchen table. He went upstairs and accessed the internet. He heard his cell phone ring but ignored it. "And maybe your mom's new boyfriend can pay for his last year of school." "Young lady," Alex muttered. Hey, why don't you see if you have a scholarship there for students who have a GPA of 2.1? Because, after all, with that kind of attitude, it's hard to expect your father to pay for your education." Alex snapped, turning off the computer. Alex went into the bathroom and soaped his face. Scraping off 3 days of stubble was hard and painful work, but he managed to do it without cutting himself. He took a hot shower, dried himself off and put on jeans and a t-shirt. The computer was located in the cab of the pickup truck, behind the passenger seat. His last act was to throw his cell phone in the trash. Alex then rolled the trash can to the curb. "I'll miss you," said George Miller, a neighbor across the street, when he met Alex on the side of the road. "Miller, there's no way in hell you'll do." Alex laughed, shaking the man's hand. "The only time we said more than 2 words to each other was when you complained about Hannah's boys playing their music too loud. And do you know how hard it is to get your neighbors to leave you alone?" "Damn it," said George. "You were the perfect neighbor. Never borrowed my, never expected me to feed your cat, never asked me to pick up your mail or newspapers when you went on vacation. I bet the next group will be at my house. All the time serves you right for being so warm and friendly." Alex said, "The trash can is ringing." George said, nodding his head towards the trash can, "Mind your own business. It's some kind of rat." Alex smiled and the 2 men shook hands again. Rebecca tried to open the front door with her key and found that the key did not fit. She took her phone out of her purse and tried to call the phone number for the Gold Standard real estate agency listed on the sign. She stared at him in disbelief. Her phone was fully charged, but apparently there was something wrong with her phone. Kathy allowed Rebecca to use her cell phone. While Michael walked around the house checking the windows and doors, Rebecca muttered obscenities under her breath when the call was answered. "Gold Standard Real Estate. This is Melissa Collins." Melissa said cheerfully, "Yes, this is Rebecca Thompson." Rebecca snapped. "I'm standing in front of my house and my key doesn't work. Mason." "Ronald Mason's ex-wife," Melissa said cheerfully. "Wife," Rebecca snapped. "Oh, I'm so glad to hear from you. I need you to sign some forms." Melissa said cheerfully, "Oh, and you won't believe this, but I have a couple of clients. They are truly interested in your home. The house is not for sale," Rebecca shouted into the phone. "Oh, so, are you going to buy Mr. Mason out?" Melissa asked. "I know the Richmond Des will be very disappointed to hear this." "Well, they also like the Perkins house." Michael returned and reported that the house was tightly sealed. Rebecca again told Melissa that the house was not for sale. She then dialed Alex's cell phone number. "You son of a," Rebecca growled as Alex's voice announced that she had called Zenith Renovations. "Come on, is there somewhere we can drop you off?" asked Michael, who was already bored with this drama. "My cat," Rebecca remembered, squeezing herself into the car again. Yeah. Dennis answered. "Dennis." "It's me," Alex said he gave Max to. "You asked Rebecca what you were crazy with Poppy. Olive and Blue here, they would tear that useless cat to pieces." Dennis snapped angrily. "No, Dad hasn't. You need to get him quickly. Dad's physical therapist is allergic to cats." "Oh, thank God." Rebecca S. "And thank you very much." Dennis continued. "For the disappearance of Rick. Now we are almost out of business. I got approved for federal savings and loans, but then I had to turn around and let Front End take it, because none of us know how to lay ceramic tile." Said Rebecca, and interrupted the conversation. "Hey, how many people are you going to call?" Kathy snapped as Rebecca began dialing her father's phone number. "What, you have unlimited right?" asked Rebecca. "Oh no, that's not true." Kathy said, "I have 1,000 minutes a month and I know that Mr. Genius over there spent them all on his fantastic football nonsense." Last call, Rebecca promised. Philip ranted, raved and hurled obscenities at his daughter. Reluctantly, however, he agreed so that she could come to his home. Michael drove to Philip Anderson's house and took Rebecca's suitcase out of the trunk. Kathy and Rebecca hugged. Then Rebecca wheeled her suitcase toward the door. "So how was it?" Michael asked Kathy as she climbed into the front seat of the car. God, what a disaster. Kathy sighed. I mean, look at her. Okay? Do you think anyone would want to have sex with her? Not when you're sitting next to her, Michael agreed. As they watched Rebecca enter her father's house. But did you receive any money from her? Almost. Kathy sighed as Michael backed out of the long driveway. Alex, God, I hate this hole in my ass. Can you hear me? He canceled all her credit cards and she had to use her debit card. But there are Atmos everywhere. Michael reminded her. Crap, got about $10. We need gasoline. Yeah, there are Atmos everywhere. And she's on the internet. You can do that when you're thick-headed hubby. Isn't wasting your minutes on fantasy football. Kathy snapped, yes. Here's 20. Yeah, that means she went online. What does this have to do with Atmos? Michael asked. As he pulled into the gas station, she saw that Alex took half of her balance. Kathy said, just get 10. Okay. We still need to pay the electricity bill, unless you've already paid for it. Michael nodded and walked into the attached convenience store. Kathy watched as Michael turned to the beer cooler and quickly bleeded into the car horn. Michael frowned at her through the plate glass of the store window but turned back to the counter. I was just going to buy 1 can. Michael lied as he returned to the car. Yeah, 1, Kathy snapped. When was the last time you received 1 can? Oh hey, does that little work here now? Where does she have such big breasts? Asked Michael. She has small breasts. They just look bigger because she's so small. Kathy said, come on, gas up. Okay. While Kathy and Michael bickered, Rebecca listened to her father's angry lecture. Since his stroke, Philip has used quite a lot of vulgarities in his conversation and he didn't seem to mind using hateful, hurtful words to describe the people around him. I mean seriously, when have you looked at yourself in the mirror lately? Asked Philip, fat pig in that face. Apparently it caught fire and they put it out with an ice pick. Dad, Rebecca gasped, truly hurt by his words. So you're turning 41, big deal. Women turn 41 every damn day. Philip growled, but not every one of them turns into a stupid traitor just because she is 41. He pointed to the legal documents on the coffee table. Max chose this moment to enter the living room. You need to hire a lawyer and I need to clean that damn cat litter box. Philip snapped, Jesus Christ. I don't know what the hell that animal eats, but damn it stinks. Philip turned sharply and pushed away. The left corner of his mouth was slightly open and he was drooling. You're in your old room? Philip snapped. Damn it. I hope it was worth it. Can you hear? I hope. Damn, it was worth it. 41 years and still a damn fool that night. Lying in her old bed and looking at the wallpaper she and her mother had chosen when she was 8, Rebecca sighed. Max didn't move when Rebecca turned off the light and stared at the dark ceiling. The week marking her 41st birthday started off so promisingly. The plane ride was smooth and easy. Rebecca looked out the window as the glittering city of Las Vegas appeared below them. Excited, Rebecca and Kathy checked into their hotel room. They then rushed downstairs and spent a few dollars at the roulette table before deciding to have dinner. Rebecca was insulted when a handsome waiter told her that her credit card had been declined. The second credit card was also declined and the manager brought the third card to the table. With a hard look on his face, Rebecca took out her debit card and prayed that it would work. Luckily, this happened and the manager brought her the card and the receipts. Returning to the room, Rebecca checked her bank account and found that it had been reduced by 50. Both Rebecca and Kathy cursed Alex Thompson. They both agreed that this man had gone too far, really too far. Come on, go, Kathy encouraged. We're in Vegas. We can't let this hole in our ass ruin our good time, right? But watching Kathy lose 3 at the blackjack table dampened the evening's celebratory mood a little. It was Rebecca's 300. Rebecca actually managed to pick up a handsome young man at a bar. 25-year-old David Scott went with Rebecca to her room. For minutes is all that happened. Rebecca then saw David trying to steal her wallet from her purse. Kathy complained that she was limited to 1 a day. Lady Luck and Kathy did not meet during this trip to Vegas. The one seemed to disappear from Kathy's hand the moment she left their hotel room on Tuesday evening, the night of her birthday. Rebecca tried again to pick up a handsome young man. The young man grinned, then leaned closer. Rebecca leaned closer, giggling in anticipation. Lady, if I wanted sex with some 300B woman, I'd be home with my wife, he said, but I heard that there is a convention of the blind to hotels away from here. Why don't you try your luck there, you fat ass? Suffering from the hurtful rejection, Rebecca took the elevator to their room. She groaned when she saw the Do Not Disturb sign around the doorknob. Rebecca then went down to the coffee shop in the lobby and drank a cup of coffee for a couple of hours. Finally, Rebecca sent Kathy a message telling her she was coming back to the room. Returning to her room, Rebecca was relieved to see that the sign was gone and entered the room after a hot shower, pulling sexy lingerie over her plump body. Rebecca lay in a large, comfortable hotel bed, staring at the ceiling. Then she realized that Alex hadn't called her husband. Her husband didn't call to wish her a happy birthday. Hedda didn't call either, but the girl sent her a text message wishing her a happy birthday. A check of her cell phone actually made it clear to Rebecca that her husband hadn't even bothered to send her a text message. However, Rebecca smiled in response to Dennis, Brian and Paul's birthday wishes. In the morning, Kathy complained bitterly about the budget. Rebecca had limited them too. Kathy even indicated that she was the one who paid for the flight and hotel room. By Saturday morning, Rebecca was seriously considering telling her cousin that it was all over between them, blood relatives or not. Rebecca had more than enough of Kathy's constant complaints, but Kathy had their airline tickets in her purse, so Rebecca remained silent. Now, lying in her old bed in her old room, Rebecca sighed heavily. Her big 41-week isn't much of a celebration. Jim Allen was the attorney recommended by Freddie Baxter, the director of the Glenwood Springs Public Library. The man looked through the papers from Penny Benson's office, then looked at his client, and it sounded very harsh and dry. He gets half. You get half. The house must be sold and any profits must be divided in half. Any expenses should also be divided in half. He's not asking for child support, even though he's essentially unemployed right now. Jim said, but I don't want to divorce, course. Rebecca wind. I don't want to lose my home. I don't want Mrs. Mason. It really doesn't matter, Jim sighed. This is the terrible truth. 1 person out of 2 says they want a divorce. Well, guess what, they get divorced. Consultation, asked Rebecca. Okay, we can request a consultation, Jim said, and Rebecca smiled. I'll call Penny's office. Rebecca listened to what Jim was saying. She studied the titles of the books in his bookcase, as there seemed to be little more than a H and H from Jim. Okay, Okay, Mrs. Mason, here's the problem, Jim said, placing his cell phone on the table. I'm paying you, so there won't be any problems, Rebecca said, clutching her purse tightly. Miss Benson has no idea where her client is. Your husband came, paid her fee and left. Jim said all she has is an email address for him. Does she need it? This is the only way she can contact him, and no, she won't give us any mail address. Attorney-client privilege. Oh, Rebecca whispered, sinking into a chair, and Alex told Miss Benson that from now on your daughter can pay for her tuition and living in the dorm. Jim continued something about new traditions or something like that. Any idea what he means by this? No, Rebecca whispered, but I'm willing to bet Hannah knows. Rebecca did not celebrate her 42nd birthday. She got dressed for another day of work and left her room. Philip didn't look up when his daughter kissed him on the cheek. He simply stared at his hands clenched lifelessly in his lap. Do you need anything before I go to work? Asked Rebecca. Nope. Philip muttered. Okay, then I'll leave you and Max. Behave yourself, okay? Said Rebecca, trying to put as much joy into her voice as possible. Everything is fine. My two best men will behave themselves, okay? What the hell do you think we're going to do? Philip spat, but it was mostly just grunts, squeaks and barks. Rebecca went to work the same route she had taken all last year, from her father's house to the library. She heard her cell phone ring, but waited until she parked the car before looking at the display. Happy birthday. Rebecca read a text message on her mobile phone. Yes, Tracy. Great, Rebecca muttered. Happy birthday to me. I'm so excited that I'm glowing with happiness. But she sent a reply thanking Tracy for the birthday wishes. Rebecca managed to lose 20 pounds in the year since her 41st birthday. However, no one noticed this. No one has paid her any attention since Alex left. Less than a week after Alex left, Rebecca realized Kathy and Michael's open marriage for what it was. Kathy and Michael had an open marriage because they didn't love each other, but neither of them had enough money to free themselves from the other. So they lived as two roommates in a rented trailer rather than as husband and wife. There were no displays of affection between them. Kathy and Michael did not hug. They did not kiss. Rebecca remembered Alex hugging her and kissing her the night she made him pork chops, mashed potatoes, gravy and green beans and bacon. Alex coming up to her wanting a hug and a kiss. She pinched her nostrils. Alex smelled of sweat, of hard work. After her announcement that she was going to celebrate her 41st birthday in Las Vegas without him, Alex did not hug or kiss her again. The last time Rebecca saw Alex, she leaned in to kiss him, but he simply avoided her kiss. An hour after reading Tracy's text message, her phone rang again. Rebecca read a message from her manager asking her if she was late. Rebecca got out of the car in a daze and walked towards the back door of the cinder block building. Tracy read a text message from her mother thanking her for her birthday wishes. Tracy then looked at her cell phone. There was a photo of a little girl with a shock of brown hair looking back at her. Antoinette Barbara Mason, 7B for as 18 and long. Read a text message from her father's phone. Tracy actually found it rather ironic that her little sister and her mother shared the same birthday, but she didn't think her mother would find any humor in that little fact. Tracy actually wondered if her father even remembered that it was her mother's birthday. Shannon Karp, Becky Turner, the attractive brunette, said into the phone. Carpets, tiles, hardwoods and laminate flooring. Hey shorty. The girl called third line. Excuse me, Alex Thompson said to a young couple who were trying to decide what color hardwood floors they would like for their home. Alex waved to Body East to help the young couple. While he answered the phone, the young man nodded in agreement and approached the couple. Alex walked over to the wall phone and pressed the flashing extension. His gaze swept across the trading floor. As he raised the phone to his ear, Alex was hoping to hear back from Samuel Davis, who was trying to get an exclusive contract to produce all the flooring for the developer's future projects. "Shorty is listening," Alex said into the phone. "Well, you know what, Mr. Shorty." His wife's voice was heard on the phone. "Looks like you and your 7 and have put another one inside me." "Shannon, are you serious?" Alex asked, his mouth open in shock. "I mean, really? Philip isn't even out of diapers yet and I'm about to get another one." Shannon giggled happily into the phone. "Where are you?" Alex asked. "I'm just leaving Drive Stevenson's office." Shannon said, "Well, you need to get that gorgeous ass of yours over here right now." Alex said, "We're going to Stone Grill to celebrate. I think all this attention on my ass is why we got into this mess in the first place." Shannon giggled as she pushed Philip's stroller out of the clinic and into the brutal Texas sun. The 48-ish woman brushed her long hair out of her eyes, looking around, always the shortest kid on the block. She learned to look around first. Before she walked, she looked at the scorching sun and smiled. When Alex stopped by the gas station to say goodbye to Shannon Carlisle and said he was leaving, she asked him where he was going. Alex looked at her for a long moment. Then he shrugged. "Why do you want to know this?" he asked. "So I can tell them where to send my last check," Shannon said, jumping off her milk crate. "Are you going somewhere warm? I already have almost all the snow I can handle." "Do you hear, Shannon? What does a gorgeous girl like you want from an old fart like me?" Alex asked her. She was about to respond with her usual playful banter, "About 7 in?" When she looked up at him, she closed her eyes. "What color are my eyes?" she asked. "Brown. Real dark brown." Alex replied, "I have a dimple. Which cheek is it on?" Shannon asked, opening her eyes. "Left cheek. And when you smile, one of your teeth shows. The one on the right is a little crooked." "I mean, not too bad, but it's not straight," Alex said. "And why did you come to tell me bye, baby?" Shannon asked, the video being Subnautica, sliding out from behind the counter. "Hey, Polly, I'm leaving." "I don't know," Alex replied, as Polly, clumsily, dragging his 320 pounds, walked out of the warehouse. Shannon grinned and grabbed Alex's left hand with her right hand. "Polly, I'm leaving, but you still have 2 hours on your shift." Polly complained. "Cough. I feel sick." Shannon said bye.